Hello friends, we are here to discuss behavioral flexibility. By flexibility, I mean behavioral flexibility while discussing neuro-linguistic programming. What is flexibility? So having flexibility means doing that both in our thinking and also our behaviors. Right from the beginning, I keep on discussing that flexibility is very important in neuro-linguistic programming. You should have open-minded. You should not have a very narrow, rigid-minded. So being willing and open to be more flexible in life can open up new doors and give us new opportunities that we may not have considered possible for us. Yes, that is the importance of flexibility. So if you have opened yourself to various opportunities, naturally number of opportunities waiting for you. So of course for a lot of people, feeling safe and comfortable means that being flexible and being willing to change can feel like a scary things to do. So the key to introducing some flexibility when we are fearful of what might result is to try something small and manageable first. Recognizing that once we get out of our comfort zone in a small way, it opens up choices and opinions that wouldn't have been there otherwise and puts what we feared into perspective, so it becomes easier. Yes, that is flexibility. Now the person or element with the most flexibility in a group or system will have the most influence. This is the law of requisite variety from system theory. It means that the person with the most options and behavioral choices will control the system. In any field, the top people in the field are those who have the most variety in their behavior. Yes, how to control, how to lead, I mean with various mode, that is flexibility and behavioral flexibility. So they have choices of behavior that their colleagues don't. Anytime you limit your behavioral choices, you give others the competitive edge. If you are able to respond to any situation in a variety of ways, you are more likely to get your outcome. Yes, that is true, that if you want your outcome, give some response to other situation also and give some more option to get the outcome. That is flexibility. So behavioral flexibility, it is the fourth pillar, and many people make the mistake of, despite repeatedly failing, using the same technique over and over again to try to achieve their outcome. Knowing what our outcomes are and using our sensory acuity to observe what is happening, the information which is fed back to us allows to make changes in our behavior if necessary. So basically, if something is not working, then try a different approach. So however, many people find themselves lacking in behavior flexibility. So if you are pitching your business idea and using your sensory acuity, you can see that your potential investor is sitting arms folded, looking away to the side. They are probably losing interest, and so behavioral flexibility then allows you to try a different approach in order to rekindle their interest. Same thing in the class also. A teacher should use various methods, flexible in the action, to make a student more involved, to motivate a student to take interest in the subject. So neuro-linguistic programming teaches that those with the highest amount of behavioral flexibility are often the most successful. Now, the person with the most flexibility will have more choices and therefore have the most influence in any system. A choice is better than no choice, and more choices are certainly better than less choice. Yes, it is said, beggar can't be choosers. Naturally, if you have more choices, you are going to get success. Similarly, if what you are doing is not working, do something else. This highlights the need to change one's behavior and do something else again and again if need be, until the desired outcome is achieved. In other words, one must be able to change readily to meet new circumstances. So if something is not working for you, it is about being flexible and changing your behavior. So every minute of our day, we take in millions of pieces of information through the five senses, that is sensor acuity. At the conscious level, we simply can't deal with that much information. So our mind filters the information we receive into chunks of 7 plus or minus 2 chunks containing about 130 bits of information a second. So what happens to the rest of the information? Well, we delete, distort or generalize it. Now distort and generalize it. Each of us will filter the information differently. That is also flexibility. As well as view things differently based on our personal values, beliefs, attitude, memories, past experience and then decisions. Now NLP presupposes that every one of us is responsible for our own life. Yes, we are entirely responsible. We can make our life happy, we can make our life miserable. So we may not be able to control external events, but we are capable of controlling our own reactions and response to those events. So if we keep reacting and responding in the same way, we will always get the same result. A person with flexibility will change repeatedly his behavior whenever something he is doing is not working. So he changes to trying something new until he achieves his goal. That kind of determination, that kind of persuasion required. So flexibility applies as much to our behavior as to our thought. Rigid attitude or thinking reduces the desired outcome in our interaction with other people. So when successive attempts at wooing a member of opposite sex fails to gain headway, is it not time to switch tactic? Now this NLP presupposition applies to business organization as well. So in any workplace, flexibility in management and individual employees encourages productivity and contributes to a harmonious working environment. That is why it is said that giving some space to other is nothing but a step to success. So always be flexible enough to explore and search for an appropriate strategy. What kind of a strategy is going to suit? Flexibility doesn't mean that you are always flexible. Flexibility means that if this strategy fails, then which strategy is going to be useful for the particular desired goal. So whether for a better life or a better learning habit, rather than being continuously stuck with something in the present that does not work. Yes, very true. It is better to quit and then start again with other strategy. It is patently obvious that if you want something new, you have to do something new, and anything new could well be better than maintaining what is not working. So changing our behavior is not all that difficult when we believe there are many alternatives which we can choose, and that a solution to every difficulty is always available. We just need to be prepared to try hard, to seek it out. All one needs is being flexible. Now, in this context, I want to quote again the presupposition of neuro-linguistic programming that map is not the territory. Though we discussed earlier, this is the fundamental of neuro-linguistic programming, that people represent the world internally to create their own personal and subjective realities. We respond mainly to our internal experience, map of reality, not to the external reality itself. Yes, the perception. Your perception of something is different and my perception is something too different. So two different perception of the same thing. Now it depends on your internal setting, internal world. So how we represent things in our mind are our interpretations. Now interpretations may or may not be accurate. In any case, these interpretations determine how we experience each moment, and therefore lay the foundation for our experience of reality in the future too. Now having choices about how to interpret your reality now changes your experience of it. And having more choices available to you begins by choosing to interpret each experience in a way what frees your thinking to explore different points of view. So how else can you look at your situation, and how else and how else? In this way your map of reality expand. So the presupposition map is not the territory, that is the map of reality that is there inside you is not the reality. The external reality is the real reality, and that you need to find out. Now we respect each person's model of the world. We could sum it as we respect each other. That is to say that it is not only your perception, other perception also should be given some respect. Just because someone else has a different point of view or map of reality, it doesn't mean that they are wrong and you are right. So aim to increase choice. What are the aims? By aiming to increase choice, you are choosing expand your map of reality. Expand your map to one that gives you the widest and richest number of choices. Yes, what is needed? Expansion. The more choices you have, the freer you are, and the more influence you have over yourself and others. Now, greater choice comes from being able to change your perpetual position. The three main perpetual positions in NLP are associated to self, in your body, looking at the situation from your point of view, associated to other, taking the other person's frame of references, associated to observer or witness, taking the meta or objective perspective, being fly on the wall. So familiarizing yourself with being in all three perceptual positions and becoming comfortable doing so in all contexts broaden your horizon, broaden your scope of choice. With practice one can assume multiple perceptual positions simultaneously. With that comes the freedom to more consciously choose your thought, feelings and action in all types of situation. Now people make the best choice they can at the times. Now a person always makes the best choice they can, given their map of reality at that time. Yes, it is your internal choice that gives a kind of signal to the final choice. The choice may be self-defeating, bizarre or evil, but for them it seems the best way forward. Give them a better choice in their map of reality and they will take it. Even better, help them upgrade their map to one with more choices in it. Another way of putting this is we all act according to the level of awareness that is available to us in that moment. The reason why people regret certain past action is because they have greater awareness now, and because of this phenomena they eventually overcome their current regret too. So based on the premise of this presupposition, whoever caused us pain in the past did so based on their level of awareness at that time. They were trying to fulfill a certain value in their old map of reality and never knew how else to go about it back then. So looking back on that past hurt from a broader and resourceful perspective in the present can enable healing and release of stuck emotion. Therefore, the broader our perspectives now, the more choices we have in the past, present and future. That is to say that we have more space, more room. Now people work perfectly, no one is wrong or broken. People function perfectly even if what they are doing is running their life. All behavior has a structure. So when you understand the structure, you can change the behavior. And people carry out their behavioral strategies perfectly, but their strategy may be poorly designed and ineffective. So finding out how you or others do what you or they do enable you or other them to change the ineffective strategy to one that is more suited to achieving useful and desirable results. Now, all actions have a purpose, yes. Even sleeping has a purpose. Laughing has a purpose. So, our actions are not random. It is with some purpose. We are always trying to achieve something, although we may not be aware of what that is. Behind each behavior, there is a positive intention. This may be the anticipation of pleasure or avoidable of pain. People want to achieve something that they value and which benefit them. So, NLP separates the intention or purpose behind an action from the action itself. A person is not their behavior. When a person has a better choice of behavior that also achieves their positive intention, they will take it. So, when the behavior is undesired, that is unacceptable, not favorable, find alternate ways to achieve the behavior's positive intent. Seek to add choices and resources. So, when you take away choices, other compensating behavior can automatically occur. So, internal conflicts in decision, procrastination and lack of motivation are often the result of conflicting values in our unconscious awareness. Establishing the highest intention or purpose of each conflicting value enables integration and inner alignment, which results in greater choice and freedom. That is very true. We think and rethink. There is a conflict in your mind, and then finally you come up with a proper suggestive decision. So, to change unwanted behaviors, start by eliciting the highest positive intention which drives that behavior. Then seek to satisfy that intention through more appropriate means. So, in order to be more understanding and compassionate towards others, seek to establish what their highest positive intentions are. So, we act according your current level of awareness by bringing the underlying purpose of particular actions into awareness. We create more possibilities for ourselves and our client. Yes, this is the way. So, the meaning of your communication is not simply what you intend, but also the response you get. Yes, sender and receiver, sending messages, getting feedback. So, resistance in other indicates a lack of rapport, or that the other person does not get your meaning. So, we all resist when we don't understand. Yes, what is the resistance against trying to understand? Your intended communication is not always what is perceived. So, you cannot communicate. We are always communicating either verbally or non-verbally. So, even the absence of a response is information. Yes, I mean the vacuum, you are sending masses, but silence is a kind of information. So, each person deletes, distorts and generalize pure sensory information. And these filters are triggered by both verbal and non-verbal behavior in others. Now, which is more important, what you intend to communicate or what you actually communicate? Flexible communicators change what they are saying and how they are saying it, as well their body language, until their desired results are obtained. So, yes, very important that what you actually communicate, is it meaningful or not? It is verbal or non-verbal, everything does matter. So, we already have all the resources we need, or we can create them. It is we who can exploit the resources, surrounding. So, you already have it in you. You have potential. Don't think you don't have potential. Now, how to exploit? Everything a person needs to effect a positive change is already in them. So they may, however, not be consciously aware of it. Often people have resources that they have not considered or are available in other context. Resources mean the internal responses and in external behaviors needed to get desired result. So our most basic resource is our ability to learn. That is why I repeatedly say that neuro-linguistic programming is self-discovery. First you discover yourself, then you discover other, then you discover other resources and the other's potential. So there are no unresourceful person, only unresourceful state of mind. What does it mean? That even the worst kind of thing, worst kind of person, even he or she must have some kind of resource. What does matter? It is unresourceful state of mind. How to exploit the potential, that is attitude. So as responsible people, we can run our own mind and therefore move towards getting the results that we want. So the key to achieving this is through knowing how to change your state. That is a state of mind. That is a state of position. As specific resources are accessed only through being in the appropriate state. So states are the keys that either open or lock the door to infinite reservoir of resources inside you. Now appropriate states are those that match the kind of resources that you would like to gain access to. Now for example, to be in a confident state, shift your body posture, breath and internal dialogue to that which matches confidence. You will immediately begin to feel more confident. Yes. There is also a mirror system where you can repeat, you can practice. Now in the above way, you can, through changing your body posture, breath and internal dialogue, assume any state. Through assuming appropriate state, your thinking becomes clear, new creative choices arise into awareness and empowered actions are the result. Now conversely, we have all had the experience of being in a miserable state, and you know how resourceful you felt then. Here I would like to add a very famous philosophy, existentialism. Man is the creature that suffers from crisis, and then he or she tries to overcome the crisis. That is called existential philosophy. And it is human being only that he or she has this quality to fight, to come over. So similarly, you have to fight even in the miserable state, applying the various strategy, and you have to come over. So the hypnotic state is highly versatile state, since it is often referred to as the master key to your inner resources. Hypnosis enables people to have direct contact with the level of their awareness that is usually unconscious. So hypnotherapy leverages the hypnotic state for the purpose of healing. So whichever way you choose to go about it, states are the way in which you tap your inner wisdom and productive levels of thought to deal effectively with any situation. Now mind and body are connected. The first presupposition I discussed with you while discussing the flexibility, that mind is not the territory. Similarly, mind and body are connected and form a system. That is the cohesiveness of your personality. So it is clear how the mind and body affect each other. Prolonged stress or heavy emotional spells often result in physical sickness. Likewise, positive attitude, joy, laughter are not only healing for the body but also help prevent sickness. So neuro-linguistic programming eye pattern reveal our internal sensory processing. Some of the other physiological cues that indicate our mental processes are posture, speech and breathing rate. Since physiological cues reflect the functioning of your mind, by changing particular physiological cues you can affect the functioning of your mind. For example, slumping in your chair can make you feel tired, or taking a walk can uplift your thought. Yes, very true. I mean, it is all your gesture and posture. So mind and body interact and mutually influence each other. It is not possible to make a change in one without the other being affected. When we think differently, our bodies change. When we act differently, we change our thoughts and feeling. Very true. Take care of cancer patient. They just get over with the help of the positive thought. But if a patient feels depressed and negative, he or she cannot survive. So the same thing that we do. So treating only mental, emotional or physical symptoms without taking responsibility for the underlying reason why such symptoms have manifested may disrupt the mind-body system. Ignoring the subtle causes of unwanted symptom can result in more complex complications later. For example, regularly taking sleeping tablets to get enough sleep at night without addressing the mental, emotional cause like stress or dissatisfaction of not being able to sleep may lead to burnout or any disease. So consciousness expresses itself through the system of your mind and body. Mind and body are therefore intimately linked, and ultimately they are two aspects of the same source. Now there is no such thing as failure, there is only feedback. So Lejeune had it that prior to Thomas Edison inventing the light bulb, he was interrogated by a probing journalist who demanded to know why Edison has failed something like 200 times to invent the light bulb that Edison claimed was an imminent reality. Edison's reply went along the lines that he had not failed to invent the light bulb 200 times. Instead, he had discovered 200 ways to invent it. Very true. Not failure. So with that kind of attitude, Edison was quite likely able to maintain a resourceful state and be positively motivated to persevere until his goal was reached. So every result gives you feedback, failure or error or whatever, maybe information about how to do something differently next time. So every experience offers a positive learning, one from which we can grow intellectually or in terms of emotional intelligence. So now here we come for useful NLP technique, because these are all NLP technique, but NLP techniques can be used in many situations. Now one of the very important technique is mirroring, which is very useful when you want to put someone at ease so that you can influence them. Now what is mirroring? It is quite simply creating a mirror image of their body language. For instance, if they cross their arms, you cross your arm, but make sure that you create a mirror image. If they cross their right arm over their left arm, then you need to cross your left arm over your right arm. This is called mirror image. So the effect of mirroring is that the other person subconsciously notices that you are behaving in the same way that they are behaving, and this leads them to believe that you must like and respect them, and a kind of bonding, a kind of relaxation. Now the other is Swiss patterning. The Swiss pattern is one of the most powerful NLP techniques for making changes in your behavior and feeling. So it is a very simple method of taking an old unwanted behavior and substituting it with a new empowering behavior. The Swiss pattern is particularly useful in situations where you repeatedly find yourself underperforming, even though you feel sure that you could do much better if only nervousness would not get in the way. So it is also common for people who prevaricate about starting tasks to suddenly find that they throw themselves into those same tasks with energy, ideas and enthusiasm. Now next is modeling, was the first of the NLP technique developed by Bandler and John Grinder. So the basic idea is to locate another person who possesses a skill that you would like to have and then ask, how do they do that? Now, by breaking down the elements of what they do, you are then in a position to be able to replicate those skills in your behavior. So, Bandler and Grinder started by studying the work of leading healers such as Virginia Satir and Milton Erickson. They were looking for the behavioral differences between these great healers and others who were less successful. Now, through these studies, they became aware of the power of the unconscious mind and how it affects our everyday behavior. So, they learned that the unconscious mind can be reprogrammed so that our behavior can be changed. Now, in organizations, modeling can be used to discover what top performers do that is different from their colleagues and to transfer those skills to everyone else. When you do this successfully, you can raise the overall level of performance. The ability of top performers is usually the result of their unique blend of feeling, thought, belief, values, and self-image. It therefore essential to identify the thinking strategies and other intangibles that make top managers outstanding. Now, next unique useful NLP technique is anchoring. Of all the NLP techniques, anchoring is probably the most simple and in many ways the most useful. Anchoring is simply creating an age memoir that is already there in your memory for a new state which you have created for yourself. An anchor can be any physical act that you choose. It could be as simple as crossing your fingers, or it could be digging the nails of your right fingers into the palm of your right hand, or it could be consciously showing your teeth to all around you. So, the procedure for creating an anchor is very simple. First, get yourself to feel the state you want to feel, then anchor that state. Then next time you want to feel that way again, simply fire your anchor. Now, the next one is metaphor. It is a natural human behavior to tell stories. In NLP, we call such stories metaphors. So, they are one of the most useful techniques because they are so natural and so common in any society. And one can describe one situation by metaphor. For instance, you might say, this is the happiest day, I am having a joyful time. Or you might hear someone say, I am having a really tough day. Nothing seems to be going according to plan. So, this is all about the useful NLP technique, friends. What is needed? This is all theory. What is required? That you apply it. You think over it. You go through it to make the new strategy. I am sure that you could be able to get success in your life. Thank you very much. I am looking forward to meeting you again with new exercise of neuro-linguistic programming. Thank you once again.